All right, let's just dive right in. We are going back 3 decades to really get into the cinematic DNA of a film that didn't just smash box office records. It completely changed the way movies get made. I'm talking, of course, about the one and only Jurassic Park. This quote from someone who was actually sitting in the theater back in '93, it just perfectly captures that feeling. It wasn't just, oh, cool movie. It was a literal collective gasp from the entire audience. It was the sense of total disbelief. For the very first time, we all actually believed we were looking at real, living, breathing dinosaurs. It was pure movie magic. So that really gets us to the big question of this whole thing. What is that secret formula? What makes Jurassic Park feel just as incredible and just as thrilling today as it did all those years ago? Because, it's got to be more than just nostalgia, right? Well, for starters, it was an absolute monster at the box office. I mean, it didn't just make a lot of money. It became the highest grossing film of all time when it came out. Eventually, it crossed that $1 billion mark, which is a huge deal even today. This wasn't some little cult classic. No, this was an instant worldwide cultural event. And that kind of success, it doesn't just happen by accident. It happens by design.
Okay, so the real genius, the absolute core of its formula, is how the movie plays with our emotions. It's all built on this incredibly delicate, masterful balance between two really primal and totally opposite feelings.
What Steven Spielberg does here is create this amazing emotional rhythm. 1 second, your jaw is hitting the floor because you are in total wonder at how majestic these creatures are. And then, the very next, your heart is pounding out of your chest in absolute sheer terror. This constant back and forth is exactly what makes the whole experience so unforgettable. And this, right here, perfectly illustrates that wonder side of the coin. Just think about that first Brachiosaurus reveal. Dr. Grant literally has to grab Dr. Sattler's head and turn it so she can see. The music just swells, and we, the audience, are right there with them, completely captivated. I mean, that's seen as a defining moment in movie history. But then, you have the other side, the terror. And nothing personified that terror more than the velociraptors. They weren't just dumb monsters, they were smart, they were pack hunters, they were basically nightmares come to life. This quote just shows you the deep, real fear the movie created. It literally followed kids home from the theater. So here's the key takeaway. This isn't just a monster movie. It is a carefully conducted experience. By giving us those incredible highs, those moments of pure beauty, Spielberg makes sure that the terrifying lows hit that much harder. That contrast isn't just a cool trick, it is the engine that drives the entire movie. And you know what? That whole theme of balance, it extends directly to how the dinosaurs themselves were brought to the screen. The visual effects in this film were this huge and honestly really risky achievement that was all based on a perfect blend of old-school craftsmanship and brand-new cutting-edge tech. Okay, so the film's magic really comes from two different toolboxes. In one corner, you've got your practical effects. We're talking real, physical things built by the legend, Stan Winston, life-sized animatronics, incredible puppets. And in the other corner, you have digital effects, or CGI, created on computers by the absolute wizards at Industrial Light and Magic, or, as you probably know them, ILM. The crazy thing is, this perfect hybrid approach almost didn't even happen. The original plan was for Spielberg to use something called go motion. It's a kind of stop motion for all the wide shots. But the team at ILM, they wanted to push the envelope, so they secretly created a CGI test of a walking T-Rex skeleton. When they showed it to Spielberg and the crew, it changed everything. They realized right then and there that the future wasn't practical or digital. It was a seamless blend of both. What made ILM's digital work so incredible was that it was basically anatomical. They didn't just draw a dinosaur. They built one from the inside out. So they'd start with a digital skeleton, then they'd layer on virtual muscles to figure out how it would move and how much it would weigh, and then finally they'd add that textured photoreal skin. That whole process is what gave the CGI creatures a sense of reality that nobody had ever seen before. Now, here is a number that is probably going to blow your mind. In a movie that's over 2 hours long, a movie called Jurassic Park, there are only about 15 minutes total of dinosaur screen time. That's it. It's an absolute masterclass in less is more, a technique Spielberg had already perfected with the shark in Jaws. By showing the creatures so sparingly, every single second they are on screen has maximum impact. It makes them feel like they're always there, even when they're not. And this right here just perfectly illustrates that technological balance we've been talking about. So of those 15 precious minutes of dinosaurs, a full 60%, that's 9 minutes, were done with Stan Winston's physical puppets and animatronics. The groundbreaking CGI was used, yeah, but it was used surgically, while the tangible, real-world effects are what grounded the whole thing in reality. That perfect blend is why the effects still look so good today. But look, all the technical wizardry and terrifying dinosaurs in the world can only get you so far. The film would just be an empty light show without a strong human core. We, the audience, needed a reason to care about what was happening, and Spielberg very cleverly gives us 3 of them. First, the characters. We get a genuinely emotional journey with Dr. Alan Grant. He starts the movie literally terrifying small children and ends it as this fiercely protective father figure. Second, the story is wrestling with some huge ideas: scientific arrogance, the ethics of creation, you name it. And third, well, you have the legend himself, John Williams, whose score basically becomes the emotional soul of the entire film. And, of course, there's this line. It's got to be one of the most quotable moments in movie history, but it is so much more than just a clever catchphrase. It perfectly, beautifully sums up the movie's central theme, that no matter how hard we try, no matter how advanced our technology is, nature is chaotic, it's unpredictable, and it will always, always resist being put in a box. Seriously, we just have to take another moment to appreciate this music. John Williams didn't just write a soundtrack, he wrote the movie's entire emotional language. That main theme, that is the feeling of wonder. Those frantic, screeching strings when the raptors are in the kitchen, that is the feeling of terror. The score is just as iconic and just as essential as the T-Rex itself. So, when you take all of these perfectly balanced pieces, the awe and the fear, the practical and the digital, the huge spectacle and the human heart, when you put them all together, you don't just get a great movie. You get a true cultural phenomenon, one with a legacy that is still going strong. I mean, the impact of this film created ripples that we are still feeling today. For filmmakers, it completely changed the game, showing people what was now possible with visual effects. In the world of science, it sparked this massive global interest in paleontology that literally inspired a whole new generation of scientists. And for all of us, in our culture, it became so much more than just a movie. It launched this giant franchise and became a touchstone for millions of people. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our original question. After breaking down its DNA, after looking at all the pieces, what is the one single secret ingredient that gives this film its timeless, enduring power? The answer? The entire secret ingredient comes down to just 2 simple words. Perfect balance. It's the perfect mix of old-school movie magic and brand-new technology. It's the harmony between pure, childlike wonder and primal adult terror. It is that once-in-a-generation alignment of art and science that created a true masterpiece. And really, it just leaves us with one final thought. In an age where it feels like anything is possible on a screen, have we maybe lost some of that perfect balance along the way?